So, Alex,
So, Benjamin,
it's another week of lockdown. Another
yeah,
podcast number 14, I think. Is it 14? Might be
yeah,
14. I think it is, actually.
fourteen.
And I remember, I've actually, for some reason, I've thought particularly about Evie at this point, because I'm pretty sure she, for some reason, likes it whenever I say, "So, Alex," at the beginning of the podcast. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to start them. But yeah, let's get into the podcast and run that intro, and then we can get straight on with all the lovely things
yeah.
we have to talk about. So, that was a fantastic intro. I think it gets better with time,
Yeah,
don't you think?
mate. Yeah, it's like a fine wine. It,
Yeah,
it, it gets better and better with age.
it grows on you and like a tumour. No, maybe not so much. It's a little bit more dark than I perhaps thought that sentence was going to turn
Yeah,
out. So welcome back to No, I was going to call it Podcast Sundays, Christ. Welcome back to On the Spotcast. It's our weekly podcast all about games and just general chat, really. This week, we are all about next gen and PS5 and Xbox and everything. Obviously, the PS5 big showcase was done last week from when we're recording this, and there's been a lot that's come out with it, a lot of game announcements, all the different stuff, and we're just going to have a big old talk about next gen and what we're looking forward to. And obviously I'll be in team camp PlayStation, Alex will be in camp Xbox, but we're not going to be fighting over it. We're just going to use both of our respective knowledges of the upcoming consoles to give you guys the best idea of next gen. I feel so mature for saying that, don't you?
I don't know.
I feel like Bruno would be so proud of me, because he'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
he's a console fanboy." But there you go. We've already began antagonise Bruno into comment section. It's barely even started. So yes. You ready? You ready to go then, Alex? You sound pretty quiet at
yes.
the moment.
Well, I'm just sitting here listening to you.
Fair enough. So
Yep.
yes, so we had the big PlayStation showcase late last week, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, late last week.
Yeah.
Obviously, it probably would have been at E3, but as E3 has been cancelled this year, we didn't have it. Instead, it would have been E3 pretty much around this time, wouldn't it? I think.
But even before coronavirus and all the lockdown and that,
Yeah.
I thought Sony was skipping E3 again anyway. Well, they did last year, didn't they?
Well, I think they said, obviously, they said they weren't going to attend E3.
Oh.
But they probably would have done their own, because they have their own, PSX, don't they? They have their own PlayStation events, so they could have done it at that. There's other things as well, but so it would have been E3 about this time of the year, which is normally we'd probably be talking about all the amazing things we'd seen at E3 on the showcase, on the show floor, and be discussing all the games that are coming out. But obviously we can't do that this year because everything's either coming out immediately on short notice or is being announced for the PlayStation 5 and next gen consoles. So yeah, the big thing come out. I've got a massive IGN page, which should make Bruno even more happy because I know how much he loves IGN. I personally don't have any issue with IGN. I don't know where you stand on IGN.
I don't really pay attention to like game reviews anyway, so.
I mean, nor do I. Nor do I.
Loads of people always shit on IGN scores and that because they say, oh, they suck Call of Duty's dick and give it like an 8 or 9 every year, and Well, no, but personally, I don't care.
No, I mean I don't read reviews generally anyway.
Mm,
I use sites like IGN more just in that more for just general information, if anything,
mm,
more news stories than necessarily game reviews.
mm.
So obviously the showcase was wonderful. We're going to talk I want to talk about the games because there's a lot of games that they announced. I mean, a lot of games. I mean, obviously picking out just a few. We've obviously got things like Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Forbidden West, which is a good one to be excited about, I believe. Obviously, it's been a while since the original Horizon Zero Dawn came out, so to see a sequel to that is good, and that looks really amazing as well. I've watched the trailer about it about 100 times. Um, Ratchet and Clank, as I said, it's a follow up to the 2016 game. It looks
Jesus
really.
Christ.
Huh?
I was gonna say, like, the last Ratchet and Clank was 2016. They ain't done one since.
Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? Because it was a it was a reboot from the first game, wasn't it? I believe. I think it was
Oh yeah.
I think it was 2016. Yeah, it was 2016. Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
just check my game case. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a reboot, and they retold the story of the first game in a slightly different way, which I really enjoyed. And obviously, it looked amazing in PS4, and the graphics now look even better in PS5. Just the amount of detail they put into.
Mm.
When you couldn't think Ratchet could get any more furry, he managed to get more furry. So that's pretty good.
4K.
Absolutely. Unless you haven't got a 4K TV, in which case don't worry about it. But you know, that's the only problem is obviously having everything in 4K is alright as long as you've got a 4K setup, isn't it? If you don't have a 4K TV and your gold-plated HDMI leads and whatever else, then you're kind of, well, it's just not really there. So we had Sackboy, A Big Adventure, which is finally another Little Big Planet game, or a kind, I guess.
There's not, but remind me, like, correct me if I'm wrong. There wasn't a single Little Big Planet anything for the entire lifespan of the PS4. Because Little Big Planet 3 was PS3, wasn't it? No, what was it PS4?
No, Little Big Planet 3 was PS4, Little Big Planet 2 was PS3. We
Oh,
played it on
my
the
bad.
PS4 together.
Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as I said it, I was like, wait a minute, we played
It's the
it.
one. It's the one where you have 4 different characters that you can switch between, including Sackboy.
Uh,
We played it a lot on our last
yeah.
channel. Yeah, so Little Big Planet 3 was PS4. So we're gonna get a new Little Big Planet game, not called Little Big Planet, obviously just called Sackboy: A Big Adventure. But I'd imagine it's gonna be mainly, you know, similar things. We obviously have Spider-Man: Miles Morales
Is
coming
it a
out.
sequel or a spin-off? Because
It's a
spin-off.
Spin-off. It's not. Obviously, I think they want to carry on with the sequel. From what I heard, obviously they want to carry on for Peter Parker's story. But obviously, for those of you who have experienced the game's ending and played it, obviously spoilers. Obviously, we see the fact that at the end of the game, Miles, as in much Spider-Man culture, has also developed, spider-like abilities, these powers that
The
Peter
thing is,
has.
that's not really a spoiler because Miles Morales has been a Spider-Man
Well, yes,
for
yes.
the
Of
success of
course.
Peter Parker after Peter dies, like for years in the comics.
Well, of course,
So it's not really a spoiler.
well, I know that,
The
but
only-
obviously, people who haven't played the game would be a spoiler because they don't know if it's going to happen in that game or not, don't they?
Why else would you bring Miles? The thing is, why else would you bring Miles Morales if he's not going to be,
Well, you never know.
Spider-Man sooner or later? Because that's like the whole purpose of him being there.
Well, I think the whole purpose of him being in the first game was just there for comedic value, almost.
Uh,
The way he just, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, I guess he is. I mean, he does play a couple roles in it. Oh my god, I hear vibrations on his phone.
I was just because my mum went out food shopping, so
Okay, can you
Yeah,
ask her to get me something?
yeah, just message saying she's come back. I've got better quickly go tell my dad. So if you want to quickly, like, I don't know what you're gonna do.
I will keep talking. You wander off like you unprofessional bastard.
I'll only be a few seconds, sorry.
Okay, you go. So, just me then. So we've got a bunch of other games too. Particularly, I mean, if you want to go see the list, there's there must be 30 games on here. I'm not going to read them all out, but the ones I like the look of the most is obviously Horizon, Ratchet and Clank, the Sackboy games, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Watch Dogs
I
Legion.
have returned.
Okay, that was reasonably quick.
Yeah, I told you it'd be quick.
Yeah, I mean, I barely had a chance to get warmed up.
Well, I knew the listeners would miss me, especially, Evie, or as I call her, Hello, Shania! Carry on.
Okay. So yeah, there's plenty of PS5 games come out. You guys can all go check it out. So I want to talk about the console itself, and I'm going to ask you. I mean, obviously, I know you're not going to get one, but what do you think of how it looks?
It looks it looks like really weird and futuristic and sci-fi, but of course that's just, well, first off, it's just like it's not the actual, like, getting to see the machine from every, like, angle and actually, on in your hands, which is always a very different thing to the first initial image.
Of course.
But also, it's the thing where, like I said, on first glance, you're like, God, that looks really weird, but you just sort of get used to it in time.
I mean,
but it's just such a different, like, sort of look from not only every other console that's come before it, but also I never expected it to look like that.
Well, I don't think anyone really knew what to expect, but I mean, it does look very futuristic, but in a way, I guess that's kind of where the world's going, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
We kind of seem to have adopted our own culture of what we believe the future will look like by making it look like it. It's just kind of a weird thing.
It's so different, because, like, the PS2, PS3, PS4, and all, like, even like the PS4 Pro and the Slims and all that, there was a certain, like, sort of basic, like, sort of look that they went for. Whereas this is just straight up, just completely rewrote that. Look, straight down to the controller with, like, that sort of white. What's it, a thing? Don't it sort of clip on all that? Or it just sort of looks like it.
No, I think it. I don't
if
think
you get what I'm on there.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at it now, but no, I don't think it is. I think it's just. I think honestly, with the controller, if you look at it from the side, it's more like a PS4 controller than you realize. I think it's just the fact the way the white makes it look like it looks different. I think it's just the way the white goes with the black. It makes it look a little different. But if anything, all it is really is a DualShock 4, but it's just a little bit fatter around the handles and has a lot of new features inside. Really, to make it a little bit more ergonomic.
Does it have the touchpad from the PS4 controller has?
Yeah, it's on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's still where it was. But yeah, we'll talk about the controller in a minute. But going back to what the console looks like anyway, I really like it. I think it looks really cool with, like, the curves, and especially I like the white. I like the white and the black. I really like the white. It makes a nice change, and I really like. I mean, obviously, I've already made my display, as you saw.
Yeah.
Well prepared. Obviously, we've all had to be guessing what the size of the console is going to be like. Obviously, we know it's going to be a big bastard. I mean, general guesses it's going to be about 15 inches tall, which is quite big compared to anything else.
That's pretty big. Even, like, I don't know how long, like, my Xbox, because I got an OG Xbox One.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that is, but I know it's not 15 inches.
You can see the comparison. I mean, there's someone online they're basically, the people that have worked it out have basically gone on the basis that all the disk drives are all going to be the same size, because a disk is a universal size.
Yeah.
So if you line up all the pictures of the consoles with the disk drives being at the same height, then you know that they are going to be, a good comparison. Because the discs have to be that size, especially with USB ports as well. They also have to be a standard size. So a lot of people have done that. I think it looks even bigger than the Xbox mini fridge that's coming out soon as well.
The Xbox Cuboid.
Yeah, it just looks like a box. Honestly, it just looks like a box. Yeah. When you couldn't think they could make it any more like a box, they've just made it more of a box. I mean, I guess it'll still look alright anyway. It'll still look cool, but I think, in terms of out there design, I think PlayStation probably has to take it a little bit. But yeah, I really like the design. I really like how it flows, especially I like how the vents come down the middle a bit on the black, and how the blue sort of LEDs glow as you're going down there. I really like how they use the blue LEDs and the blue colour in general, because with PlayStation, how they keep incorporating it into different things, especially on the controller as well, where the blue light doesn't just go on the back but comes across the controller this time as well. So yeah, I really like the design. I'll be buying the disc drive version, not just the digital version. But
Yeah.
I'd rather have, even though I do have some digital games and some disc games, I'd rather still have the option to have a disc.
Yeah. Every time, unless I absolutely have to get it digitally, like the Xbox 360, my version of Far Cry, Crisis 1, Far Cry Blood Dragon, and the Halo Wars 1 remaster on Xbox One, unless it's times where I absolutely have to get it digital, I will always go for a disc.
Yeah. I mean, it depends really. These days, sometimes during lockdown, I've gone through a habit of getting older games that haven't, been out a long while. I've been getting them on digital wise. But then again, like Last of Us coming out on Friday, I've got it pre-ordered off Amazon. I've got my Steelbook edition coming, so I want to own the disc of that. I want to have the game, and I want to be able to display my lovely Steelbook somewhere. So that'll look cool. So yeah, I definitely still get the discs on a lot of games as well. But yeah, the controller, as you were saying, we've had the controller released for quite a while now, but it's not called DualShock anymore, DualSense. We've talked about it before. It's got haptic feedback and adaptive triggers and motion sensors and all these different things. But it's going to be good, I think. I particularly like this idea of the controller is able to monitor your heart rate and your sweat for VR games.
That's unique.
Well, it's even more just in the idea of haptic feedback, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be very good.
Yeah, it will be.
But yeah, I just really like the idea of it. I think it's just going to be such a nice display piece in my little shelving section I have left for it. I think it's just going to look really cool there. There's not much else that we have to talk about. They did showcase a couple other things. They had some proper PlayStation wireless headphones, a controller charging stand, that sort of thing, an HD camera that comes with it. All that sort of stuff that you'll just need for general accessories. And yeah, it's just looking good. And also we've got backwards compatibility on PS4 games at the moment. They haven't said whether or not they're going further back than that. We'll just have to wait and see. But then again, if I want to go further back than that, I'll just pick up the console that I have for that game, which I have all of them sitting there. So it's not like I have no access to them. But yeah, it'll be interesting because I was thinking a lot about when PS5 comes out. There's obviously still going to be PS4 games I like to play. So if I can still play Snooker 19 on PS5, then I'm fine. It's as long as I have to keep switching back and forth all the time because it could be a little bit tiresome. But yeah. Anything you want to say about Xbox?
Well, I know there was a big Xbox sort of showcase thing a few months ago, maybe last month or that. But I only honestly mostly just watched the Valhalla thing. I didn't watch stuff about the actual console itself. I do because they stopped the official Xbox magazine, which I used to get every month. The last issue had a big thing about the Series X, and I have that sit next to me. I don't know if you wanted me to just go through a few things.
Well, you can if you want for true, just non-biased.
Well, you said about the PlayStation controller is actually very pretty different from the ones that come before. The Series X controller is apart from they've changed the D-pad. It's more sort of indented, sort of in the middle, so your thumb sits on it a bit nicer and that, which is quite cool.
So it's been ergonomically designed.
The 360's D-pad was crap. The Xbox One's D-pad was so-so. I'm interested to see how this will be because I don't think and I ain't held an original Xbox controller, so I can't comment on that. But in terms of 360 and Xbox One, Microsoft has never really nailed a good D-pad, especially for fighting games like Injustice or that. It's got a instant share button, which I know the PS4's had for years, but the Xbox One didn't, but now that has. And they've apparently changed the face buttons. For you would be square, triangle, circle, X, but on Xbox it's X, Y, A, B. I think they're a lot snappier
Okay.
than before. But other than that, they basically stuck to the same basic controller design they've had since the 360, which really works. I think even a lot of PS3 ones preferred the 360 controller. And if you look at controllers that you can buy for PC, they basically are just either just flat out copies or very, very like similar imitations of the 360 controller, because Microsoft just managed to make a controller design that works for a lot of people, which, you know, which is a good thing. I mean, a lot of PC ones prefer playing with a controller just because it's easier. The console is able to run. Well, I suppose you'd have to have a tele. I don't even know if they do tellies for do they do tellies for 8K?
Oh, I'm sure.
But the console's able to run games at 8K, and it's able to go up to 120 frames per second, which is pretty crazy.
Which is more than it's possible for your eyes to even see.
Is it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Your eyes can only see up to, I think it's 30. I think, which is why there's a big argument on why bother to have things like 60 FPS on YouTube, because your eye can't see 60 FPS. But the idea is that things look smoother rather than actually be able to see the difference. But yeah, it's I don't know what can the eye see. I'm now googling it. I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Apparently, maybe I am.
I don't know.
No, apparently you can see actually quite a lot more than that. I must have heard that from somewhere else. I don't know where I heard that.
You actually just googled it?
Yeah, I just googled.
Or you just all going off the top of your head?
I just googled it. Yeah, apparently you can see quite a lot, but obviously I guess the more frames you have, the smoother things just look really. So you don't really.
Yeah. Because 60, because if you go 60 to 30 FPS, 60, you definitely feel the difference. 60 is so much faster.
There is the only way I ever have that issue is when you make YouTube videos, and obviously YouTube supports 60 FPS, but whether or not you choose to make it in 60 FPS. Now my camera can record in 60 FPS, but I rarely use it because simply it just uses up more space and memory, and I don't particularly notice a difference. I might use it in vlogs just because there's a lot more movement and it looks smoother, but it's just, at the end of the day, you just get less time to record and it takes up more space. So, I mean, it's not a massive difference. But, I mean, yeah, going up from 30 to 120, obviously it's a bigger difference. But I don't know if you've seen this, but KFC have announced a console.
I haven't seen that, and I'm a big KFC one.
It's been released, it's a joke, but it's, I've just noticed it's on the news. This is quite nice. Reading news. This article was published by the Metro at 11 AM today, and it's Colonel Sanders has released a new console that apparently can run games at true 4K, 120 FPS, and has a center bit inside the console that is able to cook chicken at the same time.
I would buy that.
Yeah, I bet you would. Yeah.
I love me some KFC. I would buy that.
Apparently it's cross-platform as well, just in case. But yeah, no, it looks quite funny actually. There's a picture. I recommend you go and Google it afterwards. It's quite funny.
I will after this.
It looks like a KFC, like a bucket of chicken, but it just looks like a console with a disc drive in it. It's just a bit weird. But yeah, I think that's it for our console chat anyway. And we're gonna go. I had a bit more to just say about the. Oh, you can if you want. You can if you want. I just didn't want if we were running out.
Just a couple more things, because most of the stuff in here is the super technical stuff, or saying about the teraflops and all that stuff, which I don't know if they're the average, unless you're super hardcore anal about all that stuff. I don't think they'll care about.
I mean, unless you play PC.
But the other sort of big things are loading times, which is a massive thing that loads of people. Or every time there's a new console generation, everyone's like, "This is going to be the generation where loading's gone."
Yeah, that's
loading
something.
times have got some comparison with Xbox One / Xbox Series X and Xbox One X and the original Xbox. compared to the Series X, and the loading times like more than halved on the Series X, which is really good because some games even today take forever to load. And you were saying about the backwards compatibility, like being for the PS4. The Series X is going to have backwards compatibility with original Xbox 360 and Xbox One. So you're looking at, because there's like, I think there's like, I want to say like 500 Xbox 360 games currently compatible on Xbox One, but it might even be more than that. So you're looking at them, the like 50 of that original Xbox like games that are backwards compatible on the Xbox One, all of them, every Xbox One game, and probably a lot more like 360 original ones that are going to be added to it monthly if they do it like they did with the Xbox One. So that's 4 consoles in one, and of course all the old games will look better and run better than ever before and that, which in my opinion, like, I'm not going for a bias thing here, but if you were like, I'd say that makes it much more value for money than the PS5, just for the sheer amount that you're getting multiple consoles worth of games in one.
I have to include the fact that obviously we don't know if the PlayStation 5 will go back that far as well as yet, so we might have to hold off that opinion just before they say that they won't. Obviously, we know at the moment.
I thought that would have been a thing to sort of
I don't know. It might be
the reveal thing.
I don't know. Obviously,
Microsoft have been proudly saying it for months.
Well, yes, but yeah, that's always how it's been. But all we know at the moment, at least, is that the PS4 games are going to be compatible with it. They're going to say they said pretty much every game are going to be that. At the moment, they've got about 100 that are ready for when it launches. And obviously, over time, that list will just increase as it did with Xbox and that as well. But obviously, yeah, I mean, I don't really backwards compatibility doesn't really make much of a difference to me. To be honest, I'm not that bothered either way. I guess it might matter to other people. I mean, like I said, I own every PlayStation console, so if I was really, really desperate to play a game, I would just hop back on. But, yeah, if the only thing in time has it would matter to me is if they added things like achievements or trophies in for things, so I could go back and play a PS2 game and get trophies on it, but,
Yeah, that is one thing they haven't done with original Xbox games or backwards compatibility. That was a thing a lot of people asked when they announced it. They haven't added achievements for them. Because
I understand there's a point in the fact that it's ease of access to go back and play things, but I don't see what's the point in playing them if you're not going to get anything for doing it. I know there's an enjoyment factor. I understand that.
Yeah.
For me, and I guess for you as well, in a sense, what's the point? You might as well be playing something a bit newer.
One thing I will say going through it for me, since I didn't have Xbox Live at all during my whole 360 time, I'm able to now buy DLC. Like I bought the DLC for Gears of War 3 and Judgment, the DLC for the Force Unleashed games.
Uh-oh, he's lagging. Oh. Are you still here?
I don't know what happened there.
You saw the connection seemed to drop off.
I bought all the DLCs for like a bunch of my 360 games now because I've been able to, because I've now got Xbox Live for them. So for me, there's kind of like, I get to have new experiences within this game I've played a bunch of times. Yeah. But I do get your point though, like achievements and trophies and that.
Yeah, no, I understand. There's a few more before we finish, because I'm going to end this thing because I don't want to talk about it forever. There's just something that I meant to bring up that you reminded me about, and it's during the March 2020 PS5 event. I don't know how you say his name, but Cerny or Cherney or something like that, whoever the head of the guy is. There's apparently 5 core goals for the PS5 that they want to have before it's released, which is the idea is they talked about the fact that it's got an SSD in it, that they can load games a lot quicker and things like that. We don't have to go into the specs because I don't really care. But the idea is at the moment the PS5 can boot a game in a second, apparently.
Yeah.
There's no load screens. There's no patch installs, and there's more game on the disc and on the SSD as well.
There's some pretty big goals they've got.
Yeah. And honestly, the way that they're saying the SSD is loading them at the speeds they've announced so far and listing on here, it looks like it's going to be a possibility. But But yeah, also says that yeah, it will also support 8K gaming as well. By the way, but then you know, a lot of people are saying on here that IGN's made a list of, you know, why it won't really matter too much about people anyway, because you need all the 8K stuff to actually do it.
Yeah.
You know, you need a big TV and you need the proper leads to run it and the proper, you know. So without that, it doesn't really matter how much you think your console can run, because if your TV is not going to run it, then it doesn't really matter. So anyway, yes, we'll leave the topic for now, and if you have any opinions on the Xbox or the PlayStation, please leave them in the comments section down below and we can discuss them next week.
You could also drop down your most anticipated next-gen games. They could be exclusive, multi-format, they could be announced, or ones that you'd like to be announced, or ones that, even though they haven't been announced, you know they're coming.
Yeah, we're not looking for any sort of, you know, arguments in the comments, just general opinions and just things perhaps you might like to see.
Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno, we know what kind of console fanboy you are, you bastard. Just kidding. But yeah, so we're going to move on now to the Plat Chat, which is the section where we talk about platinums and trophies and achievements and all these lovely things. Now I can't remember what we talked about last week, but I believe this time last week, I say this time last week, last time I recorded the podcast, I was working on the platinum for Assassin's Creed Origins, I think.
Had you got that one?
I don't know. I think either I was just working on it as near completion, or I just finished it. It was one of those two.
That sounds about right.
It was one of those two. But obviously since then, I've gotten a few more. I did quite well. First of all, I began with I decided after I'd done Assassin's Creed Odyssey Origins, I then go back on the Assassin's Creed train a bit more. I went to the Ezio collection, and I started to go through Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I didn't have a massive amount to do.
The 10th anniversary of that this November. I'm going to do a playthrough of it to celebrate.
Well, I've already done mine, so I've got mine out of the way. So yeah, there's I did through Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. There wasn't matters for me to do in that. 100% seeing, collect the flags, fucking flags. You know, that sort of thing. You know, basic stuff. Did it. Got the platinum on that. Then I went on to Revelations, similar sort of thing. A bit more to do in Revelations. Just I think there's just more to do in that game in general. I still really like Revelations. It's still one of my favourite of the it probably is my favourite Ezio game, I think, still.
It's actually mine and many other people's least favourite Ezio game.
Yeah, I know you prefer Brotherhood, but I can't. Although I like the story of Brotherhood, I just can't. I don't get on with the world as well. It's just too big for me, and I think what Revelations did is it really built and concised down the world into a much more manageable size.
There's also Revelations. There's much more the actual city part, because you've said yourself, Rome is there's a little bit of the city, and then there's the country stuff. Whereas Constantinople and Revelations just full on dense, city, 100%.
Exactly, and I prefer that, and I also prefer the soundtrack for Revelations. And I prefer I just prefer the story. I really like Ezio's journey through it, and how it also links him with Desmond's journey as well. I really like that as well. And Altair, exactly.
It was the conclusion of that whole sort of chapter in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and it's still a really good game, so I really enjoy playing that anyway. Then I moved on. I was thinking about what I was going to do, because I know The Last of Us is coming at the end of this week, and I'm probably going to obviously attempt to platinum that, because it's not got any online modes in it this time round, so thank God for that. Because last time, the original Last of Us and The Last of Us Remastered both had online, so there's no way I was getting the trophies.
Yeah, that multiplayer mode that everyone talks about, that everyone raves about. Oh wait,
there were a lot of people complaining on the Last of Us thing, saying they're not putting it in. I'm for one glad that they did not, because I didn't want more multiplayer trophies.
A lot of people are moaning about everything with The Last of Us 2.
Well, yeah, that's because you know what people are like. We're not getting into that, but so yes, I decided that I was gonna. I think I got the platinum for Revelations at 2:00 in the morning, and then I woke up again. and then I woke up again at 10 o'clock in the morning, got out, put in the order 1886, and played through this story in one day, collected all the collectibles, did a few miscellaneous trophies, and by 7 o'clock at night I had another platinum. So I had the platinum for that. It's one of the ones that I had for a while, just sitting there, that I keep meaning to just polish off, and collect that last couple of bits. And you know what it's like, you do get a little pile up of just things like, oh well, I just got to do that. And so now I'm deciding what I'm going to do next. I've started playing through God of War. Something I haven't actually talked about to you or anyone else in our chat, but I started playing God of War again.
Exclusive.
Exclusive. None of my friends even know this. But yeah, I'll start playing through God of War again. I have a few trophies left in there. A lot of collectibles, which are going to be a bit annoying, and obviously the one for killing all 9 Valkyries, which is going to be interesting. It's one of the games, when I picked up a couple of days ago, I actually couldn't even get into it because I just couldn't remember how the combat works, and I was not doing very well at all. I kept dying really easily, and it was really annoying me. But then yesterday I woke up and I really felt like playing it, and I did it, and I got back into the combat now, so that's good. And last night I was up till 4 in the morning, and I've got 6 out of 8 Valkyries defeated so far. I spent a few hours going around doing those, the hardest boss fights in the game, but I did alright. I'll be doing some more after we're done with this goal. But yeah, so that is my next plan, God of War. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get it done before Friday. I wouldn't like to have to put God of War on the back foot again, so I can then start playing The Last of Us, because I feel like whatever happens, I'm going to have to drop it and play The Last of Us when it arrives on my doorstep, I don't think I can say to myself, no Ben, don't worry, I'm just going to play God of War for Friday instead. I'll save it for the weekend and just have it sitting there. No, I'm not going to do that. I've waited 7 years. Whatever happens, even if I was halfway through 6, I would be like, oh, sorry, gotta pull out, gotta go play Last of Us, it's just arrived. Actually, no, I probably wouldn't do that. I probably would finish. But it's much easier to finish 6 than it is to platinum God of War, so,
Yeah.
I wish you got
just a quick in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish you could get trophies for having 6, Wouldn't it be good if you could get trophies for real life?
I wouldn't mind that.
It's more of an indictment on the fact that we feel like our lives aren't worth anything unless we achieve something. Isn't that depressing, isn't it? Don't you think? How depressing. All of a sudden we've had this existential crisis that we feel like we need to achieve something in order to have a point of doing anything. Oh, well, isn't that depressing? Very much so. But I would quite like it. Imagine you get a speedrun achievement for finishing 6 in under 30 seconds or something. What did you do last night? Well, I speedrun the missus. And I'm going to go for a New Game Plus hard playthrough tonight.
I got the secret trophy for making her come multiple times.
God. Christ. Dear.
And I got the gold super rare trophy for making her squirt.
Oh God. Moving on. Moving on before we get taken down. Have you got any games or trophies you've been doing or achievements?
I've been doing a big old. I think I did last time. I was that big Injustice 2 on binge. I've been doing getting all my characters to level 10 and Batman, which I maxed out. I did all that. I got a few achievements during it. The one where you play as Batman and send all Gotham villains to through the transitions on the Arkham Asylum stage, completing 100 multiverse events, which was piss easy because the multiverse is just so bloody fun, especially when you get addicted to it like I did. Reached level 30 with a character, which I did with Batman, and one which I got literally 5 hours ago, sell a total of 250 pieces of gear, because I'd gotten 400 mother boxes, the random loot boxes, and doing all multiverse stuff and whatnot. And I opened half of them, and then I started needing to sell. I sold all my because there's common gear, rare gear, epic gear. Yeah. I had to sell all my common gear because it was getting so much
you do
stuff.
that, yeah.
My inventory was getting full.
Yeah,
So basically,
it's the same as what I had when I was playing through Origins. By the time I got towards getting the platinum, I think I had about fucking hundreds of shields and swords and armors and everything.
So like 3 minutes into selling my common gear, I got that. I hadn't even planned on it, but I just got it.
Fair enough.
Now I've done that. I'm sometime in like the next 2 weeks from that gonna, I think I've said before, go back to the Force Unleashed, the DLC for both Force Unleashed games on the hardest difficulty, because then I've got every achievement for both of them. And then after that, I'm going to try Odyssey New Game Plus again and hope it doesn't glitch out on me for the 4th time. And then after that, I'm going to do that massive Halo Wars 2 DLC achievement things that I've been saying, I've been sort of teasing for a while. So I've got a few things that are going to keep me busy. What
I'm really hoping for is, I was really hoping that The Last of Us Part 2 would be my 50th platinum. Because Order 1886 was number 47. So if I was to get God of War before Friday, it would be my 48th. And if Mafia 2 was to get their fucking asses out and give me the platinum for that as well, I'd be on 49, which means Last of Us Part 2 could be my 50th platinum. But obviously there's still nothing from Mafia 2. They say they're working on a patch for it, but it's still nothing. It's been almost nearly a month since it came out. I'm on 3 or 4 games now. So I have been keeping track of it in our chat, haven't I? I think I've done nearly 4 other platinums in the time that Mafia 2 hasn't awarded me the platinum.
Yeah.
And I go on there every day to check the update, and I look at the trophy list. It still says 0% for both of the trophies. I don't know what they're going to do, but you know, yeah, I don't know. Just award it to me, because it'd be good.
I mean, in 2017, we were supposed to get a Justice League film, and it's finally coming out next year, 4 years later. But anyway, carry on.
Oh dear. He went there. Well, I'll tell you what. You went there, girlfriend.
I'm dabbing on you. You can't see, but I'm dabbing on you.
Yeah, it doesn't really work in the audio format, does it? Dabbing.
Well, everyone knows what a dab looks like.
Everyone knows what an idiot looks like. And it's you.
Wow.
You bastard.
Oh.
Anyway, so we're going to go on to comments of the week. Once again, we have a flutter of Bruno comments, and once again,
Bella delivering the goods once again, my boy. Get a round of applause, don't you, my boy? There we go.
He's left now. Once again, I've had to physically prepare my lungs for this, because he writes quite big comments, which is not a problem. I do very much, appreciate them. But yeah, I'm just making sure you guys understand that they're going to be quite a read. Alex has also got them open on his end, so he can say he can see what I'm saying, or see his comments. And we're going to just start out with the one regarding Spider-Man PS4. If you're ready.
I am ready.
Cool.
I've always been ready.
So last time we talked a lot about Spider-Man PS4 and just all about it really, and Bruno has an opinion on it, as Bruno has an opinion on everything. So let's read it out. And he says, regarding Spider-Man PS4, it's not about doing something that has never been done before, it's about doing things your own way and putting your own creativity into it. Frankly, with Spider-Man PS4, I'm not convinced that they did that for the story. I think they just relied too much on the already established frames to tell their narrative in order to appeal to as many people as possible with these bombastic scopes. As a result, they made the game feel really stale and manufactured to me. If they simply put the story from their own ideas and committed to those ideas, then I wouldn't care if the game had some similarities to other ones. However, we are not talking about similarities, we are talking about whole segments that have been copied and pasted into the Spider-Man PS4 game, and they just simply added their own characters to it. That was the whole point I was trying to make with Kingpin as an example. He acted out of character just to be in the service of the over-the-top set piece. Anyway, the gameplay is really fun, and but I really don't like the story. If I ever owned the game myself and didn't just play the game of my friends, then I can imagine I would just skip all the cutscenes of the game on my very first playthrough. Or after his first playthrough. So yes, thank you, Bruno. Opinions, Ward?
No.
No, not me neither. I mean, it's opinion, really, isn't it? It's up if he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. So we'll move on now to the comment where he's talking about Alex. It's one of the shorter comments, so thanks God. And it's particularly about playing sequels before mainline entries.
Yeah, because I said a few times last time, he always sort of jokingly says, you're not Halo. You started Halo with Halo 3. How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, because last week's topic, if you don't know, was all about sequels. So that's why we were talking quite a lot about them. So his comment says, Alex, I never said that every time you want to pick up a game which has a number in its title, that you then have to play all the past games before playing that one. However, if you plan to pick up a game which story is very much connected to the previous games, then what are you doing? P.S. There's no pizza with thin or stuffed crust in Italy. There's just pizza for crust. Thank you.
Yeah, he has got me there, because the original Halo trilogy is so tightly interwoven. Well, maybe slightly less so with Halo 1, but definitely with Halos 2 and 3, and the many callbacks that Halo 3 does to Halo 1. There's so many, all these little things that, just make a lot more sense and feel much more fleshed out, and now when you played all 3, he's got me there.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's also why, loads of ones, unlike someone I met in this Assassin's Creed group on, on Kick, she played Syndicate, loved it, now she's going through Odyssey, and they're her first ones. And loads of other ones are started with, Unity, or they started with Origins, or they started with this and that. And I'm always kind of if you're serious about, or they even on Reddit say, I'm new to Assassin's Creed, where should I, start? Or I played this game, where should I go from here? I'm always start from the beginning. It's not if you just looking at the main games, there's 13 of them. 1, 2, Brotherhood Revelations, 3, Liberation, Black Flag Rogue, Unity Syndicate, Origins Odyssey, Valhalla coming up, and that's before you throw in the Chronicles games, Bloodlines, Altair's Chronicles, Discovery, Legacy, Identity, and the film and the comics and all that. When you get into something that's so big and got so much to it, and there is so much
and how they're all linked as well.
Assassin's Creed, you're start at the beginning. There's nowhere you can really realistically start other than right at the beginning.
And the whole fact that they're all linked as well is a big thing. They all
because
often make
Valhalla,
references.
a big thing that they're making out with Valhalla is it's gonna, even though it's not the final game, it's gonna be the sort of big ultimate culmination and coming together of everything from the first game to through Ezio, the Ezio trilogy, the Colonial games, Unity, Syndicate, all of them. It's going to be this big ultimate culmination of everything that's come before.
What, you mean in the real world sense against Abstergo or something?
I think they have sort of described Valhalla's modern day as the end of an era. So he's going to be the big ending to this whole sort of everything that's come before. Even though it's not the end of the franchise, it's going to be the end of an era.
I see. Well, I mean,
with something like that, just start at the beginning, and then that will be so much more impactful and mean so much more. And you'll understand
the last modern day thing we had is Layla obviously now has the staff, and she's disabled someone as well by cutting through their spine. The bitch! I would have just killed him. I don't know why she bothered to do that for. I would have just killed him.
That's spoilers, because a certain person that'll be listening to this hasn't played Odyssey's DLC.
Well, I haven't said any names, have I? So killed who?
Yeah.
Disabled who?
Yeah.
Stabbed who of what?
Yeah.
Who even stabbed them? Who knows?
Yeah.
I've been very vague there. I haven't really said anything. So, who am I spoiling it for?
Oh, a certain Shionium.
Ah. I was trying to think who you were saying it about. So I'll say everyone I know has played it or experienced it at least. But yeah, no, I mean I haven't given any names away there at all. Saying in Assassin's Creed that someone kills someone and stabs someone is quite common. I find it's quite a main feature of the games. I find it's in the name really, Assassin's Creed or stabby wrist game. So it'd be interesting to see where that goes. But so yes, we'll move on to his last comment. It's a big one.
That's a sigh of I'm so looking forward to reading this.
I said to Bruno,
one time. I always look forward to hearing his opinions on stuff because they always make me think about something differently.
I do as well, but I particularly say my favourite comment this week is the last one where I was able to, add much more personality to reading it. For comedic value, it's nice to be able to sort of read it and how I think Bruno is feeling it at the time. But anyway, yes, so he's going to pick out his personal video game sequel, and then he's apologised to me in this, so it's good. And I'll start, okay?
Yeah.
So, deep breath. If I'm allowed to share my personal favourite video game sequel, then I would have to talk about Halo 2. Don't worry, Ben. I will talk in broad mechanical terms so that you won't get too burned out by two games talking about What are you singing?
I was trying to quietly do the Halo thing.
You're more putting me off. You made me lose where I was in the sentence as soon as you started.
You said don't worry, Bruno. I will talk.
Yeah, I can see where I was, but just perhaps leave the themes out of it. So anyway, he says, "Don't worry, Ben. I will talk in broad mechanical terms so that you won't get too burned out by two guys talking about a game franchise you don't care about. Thank you, Master, for taking pity on such a simple man like myself." He says, "Anyway, in order to understand why I would call Halo 2 my favourite video game sequel, let me just explain what for me makes a great sequel in general in a thematic sense. Doesn't matter if it's a game or a film. Usually, a first entry in a series introduces us to a world in which we immerse ourselves in though a more grounded and intimate point of view. Then the second entry takes that POV and shows us what is beyond that. If the first one is the what, then for me the great sequel answers the in-depth questions like how and why. For example, if we have a kingdom in the first, then the second one either answers what the kingdom is built upon, or it introduces to us a second different kingdom, or even does both. Lastly, a great sequel for me should feature, or further even, the discussion of a previous entry's core message in an interesting way." And for some reason I have turned into David Attenborough as this conversation's going on. So how does that apply to Halo 2? Well, for one, it expands our understanding by introducing a second protagonist who works on the antagonist's side of things. We now there is a proper word for people that are protagonists and antagonists, isn't there?
I think there is.
Don't you call them
I'm not pretty sure what it is. I'm pretty sure there is.
There's I need to just quickly Google that because it's going to bother me if not. I think because Catwoman is one, isn't she? She's like a She is a. There is a word for it when you're both. Oh, which one is it? I can't remember the word now. It's like a tertiary something. I don't know. I don't really know. This is really going to bother me now. I need to find it. I must find it. Can you remember anything?
No, I know there's a word for it, but I can't remember what it is.
I know, it's really going to bother me now as well. Obviously Bruno didn't know the word because I think he would have used the word, so... Oh, come on, there must be... Someone must have written it somewhere. Come on. No, where? Why? Why not? Where is it? Jesus Christ, the internet's letting me down here. I thought it'd be everywhere. There must be both. There must be both. I don't know. I can't find it, Alex. I can't find anything. What's a protagonist? What's that?
Protagonist is the main character.
Of course it is. Yeah. Why did I read it out? Why did I look at that word and think I've never heard that word in my life before?
Protagonist is also a antagonist, but there ain't anything.
There is definitely a word for like. That's really annoying. That's really annoying. That's isn't it? It's really annoying. There is definitely.
I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a word for it.
There's got to be. There. I don't know. I always thought there was a word like a. Yeah, maybe there isn't. Maybe I've just. A deuterantagonist. Is that one? That's a word.
What?
I don't know how you pronounce it. It deuterantagonist, or it says secondary main character. Maybe not then. There's a triter. Oh god, there's so many different words. Why do they've all come from ancient Greek apparently? I can tell you that. I don't know. A deuterantagonist. Maybe there isn't a word for it then. I don't know. I always thought there was. If anyone knows, let us know. I'll carry on with the comment anyway.
Yeah.
Where was I? Yes.
Introducing a second protagonist.
Yes, I'm trying to find it now. Oh, yes. So back to David Attenborough. We now see through what's happening on the other side and why, and how they are doing what they are doing. At the same time, the game expands on the settings. The first game was centered around the location, while Halo 2, I don't think that's correct, while Halo 2 opened up the world and became about numerous locations at once. Finally, the main theme of Halo 1 for me was more or less to question your beliefs. Halo 2 took that core message and gave that to a second protagonist, as I've mentioned. In doing so, the enemy faction went through a groundbreaking revelation which sparked as an inner conflict and resulted in some great drama for an FPS game, and I for one am questioning the belief in my interest for this comment very much. All in all, the way the game gave us a second protagonist behind enemy lines, expanded on the themes and settings, made it just simply iconic. And one of my favourite video games, one of his all-time favourite video games. P.S. or post-scriptum, if you would rather say that. Halo 4 can kiss Halo 2's legendary butt. That's right, Alex. Kiss it. Kiss my sweet Italian rectum.
Halo 4's my favourite Halo game, but Bruno's, like most Halo fans, isn't very struck on it.
So, Alex, you have to kiss Bruno's bum. He's not going to say anything. He's just sitting there.
I was just imagining it.
You just imagining kissing Bruno's bum. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think it would be like?
I don't know. It'd be sort of. Well, you've seen a bum before.
I can imagine it to be quite pale and really tight.
You had to go with the tight, didn't you?
Well, yeah, because he's quite young, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's quite skinny as well, so I'm thinking he'd have quite a tight pair of cheeks there. And I imagine they're quite pale as well, because I don't imagine he gets out of the house much and tans.
He's fresh, youthful, and unspoiled.
Oh, dude, where's this conversation going? But yes, Bruno, do let us know what your arse cheeks are like in the comments, if you will. I'm very surprised if he comes back with a comment on that, but definitely humiliated him.
He is right. He's right. Very valid comment. He is right about Halo 2, because Halo 2 is like a masterclass in like world building in a video game series. Like that, Halo 1 is so small and self-contained, and then Halo 2 just opens everything up so much, and it all like works. It all gels so well. Doesn't feel like bogged down in exposition or anything feels needless. So that it just all works really well, which is just a really hard thing to do when you expand in something so much.
So I'm just thinking about kissing arse again. It's kind of hard. It's not Bruno's arse specifically, but just thinking about, if I had to kiss someone's arse, where would I kiss it? Obviously there's quite a lot of different areas on an arse you can kiss.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to play it safe, I guess, wouldn't you, and go for outside cheek rather than trying to go towards crevice. Depends on whether they're well showered, I guess. Do you think Bruno's well showered?
I reckon the old boy looks after himself pretty well.
Do you think he's popped his finger up there just to give it a good wash out quickly?
Doesn't all guys at some point?
I wouldn't say I've ever put my finger massively up there. No, maybe just a quick wash, you know, a comfort purpose.
Speaking of people with nice bums. Hello, Shodium!
Hold on a second. Are you now? Oh, wait, hold on a second. Are you now? Whoa! Hold on now. Well, hold on a second. Hold your horses. Have you seen Evie's bum?
No, I'm just doing that to her back because I know she's there, like red-faced, laughing, embarrassed.
Do you like?
I'm just being naughty.
So you're imagining her behind?
No, I never said that.
Well, you've just imagined that it looked good.
I never said that either.
I heard she's got a pretty impressive wang, but I don't know what her ass is like. I heard. I haven't seen either, but I've heard stories of the impressive wang, and apparently it's quite girthy, quite the chunky monster. I've heard.
Very, very succulent.
God. So okay, all right. Well, I think we're going to stop talking about people's asses now.
Yeah.
Because I think we've hit a new level here today where Alex has just literally said he thinks Evie has a nice bum. Leave a comment if you're listening, Evie, and describe, do you have a nice bum? Let us all know. We're all on tender hooks here waiting to find out whether or not. Perhaps Alex can come back with some picture evidence next time. Perhaps you can go and collect some pictures of bums. You know, have a look around. You can come back with your top 5 bums or something that you would like to kiss. It doesn't have to be. It can be people, celebrities. You know, you go for it, Alex. You find out. You know? I think that's something you can really dedicate your time to.
Well, what else am I going to do?
Well, no, we are.
I haven't got a girlfriend.
What did you do in lockdown? Well, you know, just the normal things. Looked up people's pictures' asses. You know, pretty normal. But anyway, that is it for today's podcast. I think we've gone on long enough and we're starting to ramble on even more than normal. Thank you all for listening to this.
Wait, what's coming up on the channel?
Nothing. Enjoy.
Not even a showing a new display thing and that. I thought that'd be the sort of thing you'd do.
I think I'm gonna leave my display thing until the PS5 comes out.
Okay.
It's not complete then, and there's still more stuff I could do to it in the time, you know. However, there is going to be a video about some cubes coming out.
Cubes. I hope you said cubes and not pubes.
I said cubes. I did not say pubes. I'm not making myself a fake beard out of my pubic hair. Not doing that at all.
Again.
Do you think Bruno has a hairy ass?
I don't know, maybe.
Because I imagine some men have quite a hairy ass. I think my ass is quite hairy.
My ass is very hairy.
But I don't imagine him. I think from the look at, he doesn't look like a hairy kind of person. He looks like quite, you know. He doesn't have any sort of beard or facial hair, does he? You know what I mean?
Mm.
He looks like
Bruno with a beard. I'd love to see Bruno with a beard.
No, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
If we ever did a group meet-up, I want Bruno to have a beard.
It would upset that, you know, classically nerdy look that he has perfected over the years.
Yeah, but don't internet nerds have beards and that? Don't
yes,
they?
but at the moment, well, yeah, but they can only get beards when they get really fat.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah.
You don't see any skinny
the multiple chins.
Yeah, you don't see. Yeah, exactly. You never ever see a skinny, you know, sort of video game or, you know, pop culture nerd who wears glasses and wears interesting shirts that has a beard. You see some big fat guy with a beard, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you see. Yeah, you got to stick to the status quo with this. I think, you know.
Yeah.
We can't break these things. There's certain rules, I think, etiquette around being what looks like a nerd. And I don't think Bruno would suit a beard, really. I mean, I'd be interested to see what it looks like, but what kind? I mean, yeah. What kind of beard though? Like a big bushy one, or like a styled beard, like
I don't know.
Perhaps he can go for like an Ezio look, and just because he's part Italian.
Oh, okay.
Because again, I don't think Italian culture is a particularly beardy kind of thing, is it really?
I don't know much about it.
Perhaps maybe like there could be quite a good like moustache culture, I believe. But I mean, I don't think it's really a beardy kind of thing. I don't recall seeing many Italians with beards. Do you? I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of Italians with.
I don't know many Italians.
I've definitely seen a lot of Italians with facial hair like moustaches and things like that. And I'm not just talking about Mario, but I mean, in general culture. But yeah, I don't recall seeing many Italians with beards. Bruno, let us know. Do Italians have beards? Is it a common thing, or is it? Because obviously different cultures, different things. Some cultures growing a beard is a sign that you are, a man or something, or some cultures it's seen as unclean. People prefer different looks. I mean, I don't know what the culture is in the UK. It's just trying to get through your week without being called a racist on Twitter, I think, really.
Yeah.
The tinderbox that's forever going on like Twitter is. God, I try to go on there sometimes, but I get too annoyed from just the amount of people moaning about things. It's all it is.
That's a British thing. That's a British thing.
I know, but it's too much. Too much. I can't handle it. But anyway, yes. Let us know, Bruno, and yeah, thank you all for listening to this week's podcast. For some reason you carry on doing so, and we appreciate it greatly. And thank you for 180 subscribers as well. I'm on 180. Yeah, I knew that was coming. But then again, that's another British kind of reference, isn't it, really? I don't know. I mean, I guess darts culture isn't massive outside of, apart from maybe the Netherlands. They get taught.
It's not a big thing in America, is it?
Not really. They get taught darts in the schools at Netherlands. It's a subject at school. So they actually learn it, which is quite interesting, I find. But yeah, it's definitely a British reference, I'd say. Been a while since I watched any darts. Whenever I watch it makes me feel less civilised, because it makes me feel like some sort of football hooligan or something. It's like going into Argos. You feel like your self-worth is depreciating.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Argos.
Okay,
Argos.
it's just wrong
both
with
the country in Greece, both the part, area of Greece, city of Greece, in Greece, the area is Argolis.
Argolis, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's still a region of Greece, Argolis. It may be much like Sparta. It's not really a thing anymore. I'll just search Argolis quickly so we can confirm that. Oh no! Apparently, it is still a region of Greece. It is still.
Cool, yeah.
Something I found quite interesting actually when I was playing through Revelations, and you were able to actually have a good look at the map where you send assassins out to do things. You can actually see all the specific Greek islands in that, and it kind of is a bit ironic playing these games now with hindsight in them. Tell you something I always think is, like, I always keep thinking now, whenever I play Assassin's Creed, I keep thinking, where is Cassandra? What's she doing? You know what I mean?
I don't think that. I just get in my head canon, she didn't stay away from Atlantis too long. Proof they ever been discovered while she was away. That's the only way I can sort of rationalise that, because I've got to say, as time's gone on, I more and more dislike quite a bit of the story choices of Odyssey.
I mean, I find it quite interesting to know that she spent, 2,400 years somewhere. Because that's how long it is. If you think about it, you've got Odyssey.
Yeah, it is like
well, it is, yeah, because Odyssey, is set in 421 BCE.
429 to 422.
Yeah, so that area,
BCE.
that region. So then you get down to Origins, which is in like 39 BC.
I think it's 48.
Yeah, that area. Anyway, okay, as time goes on. So then but then once we get to the year 0, we then go on to our years. So then we get up the year up to now, up until 2020. So when you think about it, she's just spent 2,400 years doing something until we get to the events of the end of Odyssey. So I find it quite interesting to think when I play through all these games now that somewhere in that world, Cassandra is there. Which I think adds an interesting dynamic when you go through it with hindsight. But anyway, yeah, look, we need to end the podcast. We're going on too long. It's gone far too long. Thank you for listening, anyway.
That's what happens when you start talking about bums and hairy cracks and wang.
It was a mistake, because I know how much you like talking about hairy bums and cracks, and I shouldn't have ever brought it up in the first place. But anyway, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time in next week's podcast. Enjoy, and live long and prosper. I don't know. It's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from...
Oh, he's going to do it again, isn't he? Are you going to say anything? Hello? Hello? You going to say... It's okay. All right then. Well, that was a complete waste of everyone's time. Thank you. Goodbye. Come again.
I have expected you. Greetings. Do you know why I live here? Yes. I have been pondering on exactly that question. All in good time. First, a question for you. Imagine but a whisper pushing aside all in its path. What will you burn? What will you spare? Yes. Few could resist such a challenge. You once told me you did not believe in destiny. Do you have no better reason for acting than destiny? Are you nothing but a plaything of fate? Yes. Do not be afraid. Fulfill your destiny. Few could resist such a challenge. Why do you delay? What else would you seek? Go then. Fare thee well. Do not be afraid. Remember well. Power, you have it, but power is inert without action and choice.